Shalom, everybody. It's Deacon Dave with KJBU, and before we move into today's understanding, a uniform declaration of separation must be put forth. All teachers, elders, deacons, and brothers under the banner of the King James Bible University are in no way affiliated, linked in, nor connected to any religious buildings, sects, philosophies, vain, impure, or defiled attempts by false prophets, dressing up to appear, to look, act, walk, and sound godly, speaking expressly through doctrines of devils to enrich themselves through the fleecing of the scattered flock of the Most High, accepting love donations, tithe offerings, prayer offerings, super chat donations, and any and all filthy gain acquired through skillfully deceptive means to lavishly delight themselves upon the men, women, and children of the one shepherd of Israel, Jehovah, the Spirit of the living God. And as always, we move how he moves. Now, today's understanding, home is where your heart is, right? And we all know what home feels like. It's that place that your mind recognizes as secure and comforting, regardless to where you are. And this is everybody, even me, right? And I've had many setups, mom's crib, baby mom's crib, etc., etc., right? But according to my affections, how many of these were as the honeycomb is to the bee? Only one, right? But now, through the spiritual lens, I see this as adultery, fornication, and idolatry, right? I know y'all follow me. So, this yearning, this longing for, something we've experienced. So this sentimental reminiscence is a remembrance. It's a recollection. This homesickness, ultimately becoming a misplacement of emotion and endearing that should have been deconstructed when I left the old man in the pool. You see it, right? But it's sneaky, right? Right, well, let's push. Home, the place where one lives permanently, especially as a member of a family or household. We of the house of Israel, servants of the Spirit of Yahweh, scattered to the four corners of his earth, must look to the promise of the spiritual, knowing that our expulsion from our physical land was due to the blatant disobedience we still to this very day exhibit. Remember, the physical is simply temporary, and as descendants, the lineage of Israel, we are as pilgrims in the physical world, right? This construct, seeking the promise of the Most High, right? Let's keep pushing. Exodus 6, 3, and 4. Exodus 6, 3, and 4. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the way of God Almighty. But by my way, Jehovah, Christ, was I not known to them. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers, right? So a pilgrimage, a journey to a place of particular significance or interest. So we're being called away from the flesh, right? And the lifestyles of it, the carnality, the worldliness, unto the promised land of our forefathers, the body of Christ, a land flowing with milk and honey. So we're all called out. And remember, pilgrims don't have a home. And as far as comfort is concerned, we can see what he did with Abram's comfort, right? Genesis 12 and 1. Genesis 12 and 1. Now, the Spirit of God has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house, his family, his people, his nation, unto a land, a body that I will show thee. Emphasis on thy, yours. Get out of your region. Get away from your nativity and your people, your ways, right? The things you know. Here we see a shift being called away from the flesh, and we will all experience this in one form or another. And as our forefathers was instructed to depart, we too must leave, deviate from what we've accepted as the norm. Thus, it became our usual course of action. We weren't created for these ways, the customs and manners of flesh, and cannot be set, which is to be established or appointed by them, right? But let's prove that. Jeremiah 13 and 23. Jeremiah 13 and 23. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may you also do good that are accustomed to do evil, right? So we're just used to doing it. These learned ways are habitual, common. Now, in life, there are many tastes. These are your experiences. Sin is an acquired taste, like cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, prostitution, gang banging, homosexuality, murder, etc., etc., right? Nobody came out of the womb to receive these things. These are the things we took in. We took these evils into these vessels, these cups. Now, how do we know that? Ecclesiastes 7 and 29. Ecclesiastes 7 and 29. Lo, remember, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions, right? So upright, just, righteous, godly, which is holy, devout, lawful, faithful. And, inventions, innovations, new ideas, and none of them was good, right? We see the ingredients. Man's formula itself speaks to our shame, the nakedness, the dishonor, and the utter disgrace. This is our vomit, right? And it's set out there for all eyes to see. You think I'm lying? Pick a channel, and we there, ruling our individual kingdoms in madness, right? So whether it was presented to you as good or not, the time came where you could see it was wrong, and we kept trucking. You remember when you did it, and I do too, right? But we can see this in live action, right? Zechariah 1, 2 through 6. Zechariah 1, 2 through 6, A through C. The Spirit of God hath been sore displeased with your fathers, right? So straight to the source. Verse 3. For this reason say thou unto them, Thus said the Spirit of God of hosts, Turn ye unto me, saith the Spirit of God of hosts, and I will turn unto you, saith the Spirit of God of hosts. Be ye not as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets have cried, saying, Thus saith the Spirit of God of hosts, Turn ye now from your evil ways, and from your evil doings. Now, did that say later, or when we feel like it? Nah, right? However, they did not hear, nor hearken unto me, said the Spirit of God. So he gonna make the rubber meet the road. Verse 5. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? However, my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants, the prophets, did they not take hold of your fathers? Right. So, as the word reproves, we need to course correct and apply before our allotted time runs out and force is used when divine retribution comes to pass. They bear witness to it, and as they did, so do we, whether we know it or not. You see, wisdom has taught us where there's smoke, there's fire. And that information alone shows us where there is flesh, active flesh, there's sin. Simple and plain. But let's see how we use that logic. The course of action suggested by the consequences of what we're doing. In short, Do we possess the ability to learn from another's mistakes? Let's find out. 2 Kings 17 and 14. 2 Kings 17 and 14. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Spirit of God, their guide. So, hardened, adamant, firm. Next, our stubbornness, rebellion, the stiff neck. It ain't looking good. Seeing we adamantly hardened our will, our desire, and purpose against Jehovah, the maker of the vessel itself, which is you. You want to see it? Here you go. Isaiah 43 and 15. Isaiah 43 and 15. I am the Spirit of God, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. Now, you can't unsee that. That's clear. I see it. Now, let's get to the problem. 1 Corinthians 6 and 13. 1 Corinthians 6 and 13. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats. However, Yahweh shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Creator, and the Creator for the body, right? So, meats, deceitful doctrines, delicate worldly pleasures, the belly, the innermost parts of your heart, your desires, right? Your treasury, the secret place. The body, the soul, spiritual body, the vessel. And we know fornication is harlotry, whorism, right? So the spiritual body, your soul, we've taken it upon ourselves to fill it with worldly delicacies, the doctrines and pleasures of it. But this is Jehovah's place, his house, remember? Right. Malachi 3 and 10, Malachi 3 and 10, A and B. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, right? The storehouse, the barn, the treasury, the vault. We know meat, bread, doctrine, knowledge. So bring your tithe, your tenths, those best portions into the treasury. He rained down the ingredients for sure, right? But did we store it up? Can you bake the cake? Did you accumulate the oil for the divine lamp or no? Your work is the proof. The proof is in the put in, not the pudding. No, I don't eat pudding. The work you put in, your labor of love, and the ingredients you use to make the cake. Now, are your ingredients spiritual or physical? Because if we do as our fathers who believe not, we add sin to sin, hoarding worldly dainties and placing them in the storehouse instead of the word, the seed, which is all he's returning to retrieve. The outcome of this action will be the same as theirs, disobedience. You see it. You see it. Jeremiah 7 and 26. Jeremiah 7 and 26. Yet they hearken not unto me, nor incline their ear, but harden their neck, the ways of rebellion, right? They did worse than their fathers. Did we though? Wow. Was we really that bad though? You feel me? I mean, that was tough. Let's see though. Jeremiah 44, 15 through 18. Jeremiah 44, 15 through 18. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense established covenants unto other idols, and all the women, those spirits that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of bondage and confusion, in Pathros, the southern region, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the way of the Spirit of God, we will not hearken unto thee. However, we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. As we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. Keywords, our. This is never good. This is a clear and willful separation from Jehovah to join with who? The Queen of Heaven, a false idol, Ashtaroth, meaning star, mother goddess of fertility, right? But let's keep pushing. Verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. Right? And this is blasphemy. Ascribing the actions, characteristics, or workings of the Most High or Christ, his spirit, unto an idol or anything is blasphemy, right? Let's prove it though. Jeremiah 44:11 through 13. Jeremiah 44:11 through 13. For this reason, thus said the Spirit of God of hosts, the God of Israel. Remember, I will set my face against you for evil, and to cut off all Judah, and I will take the remnant of Judah that have set their faces to go into the land of bondage and confusion, to sojourn there, and they shall all be consumed, and fall in the land of Egypt. They shall even be consumed by the sword and by the famine, right there. They shall die, from the least even unto the greatest, by the sword and by the famine, and they shall all be an execration, and an astonishment, and a curse, including a reproach. For I will punish them that dwell in the body of Egypt, as I have punished Jerusalem by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, right? So we got that, right? Right. Verse 19. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Wow. Right. And here is the pause. These men meant to be set apart, just as the women, examples and leaders of this people, teachers and feeders of the word of the Most High, Jehovah, his servant, who reigns over the earth. So we see clear defiance here, even in hearkening to their wives and not the Spirit of God. Like the first Adam, right? These men felt they were better off beyond Jordan. Keep in mind, all this was done in Jerusalem and Judah. Well, did we learn? No, not at all. We didn't hearken. We see that. We were created upright. We got that. Now we need to see why we don't, right? Let's see what we about. What are we really after, right? What are we holding near and dear to our heart? What do we treasure, right? Let's take it there. Ezekiel 22:3. Ezekiel 22:3. Then say thou, thus saith the Creator Jehovah, the city sheddeth blood in the midst of it, that her time may come, and maketh idols against herself to defile herself. So the city, Jerusalem, Israel, sheddeth, sheds, departs, to forsake, desert, abandon, is done away with. Defile, to profane, pollute, make vile. So we're making ourselves vile with idols. These false gods and graven images we were warned against, right? Let's take a quick trip, right? Gas station stop. Exodus 20:3-4. Exodus 20:3-4. Thou shalt have no other gods, idols, before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Shing bao, baby, right? Now, back to the regularly scheduled programming. Ezekiel 22:4-5. Ezekiel 22:4-5. Thou, in your perfection and beauty, are become guilty in thy lifestyle, that thou hast shed, departed, abandoned, done away with, and hast defiled, polluted thyself and thine idols which thou hast made, that you came up with, right? And thou hast caused thy days to draw near, and in your perfection and beauty are come even unto thy years. So here's the reaction to our action. For this reason have I made thee a reproach unto the heathen, and a mocking to all countries. Those that be near and those that be far from thee shall mock thee, which in your perfection and beauty are infamous and much vexed, right? So reproach, we're disgraced, slandered, mocked, we're taunted, scorned, vexed, annoyed, punished, tormented, and harassed. And this is daily, 2 times, right? By Gentiles, nonetheless. These are idolatrous unbelievers who, mind you, are both foreign and domestic. Why domestic? Well, let's find out. Romans 9 and 6. Romans 9 and 6. Not as though the word of God had taken on effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. Now, back to why we're being mocked and the reason for defilement. Action, reaction. Simple and plain. We have abandoned our heritage, the lifestyle of Christ, the way given of the Most High, which is required to attain entry into his kingdom, right? So we pushing. Ezekiel 22, 6 through 12. Ezekiel 22, 6 through 12. Remember, the princes of Israel, every one were in thee to their power to shed, to depart lifestyle. In thee have they set light by father and mother. In the midst of thee have they dealt by oppression with the stranger. In thee have they vexed the fatherless and the widow. So the leaders have established their truth according to the flesh, though we're commanded to condemn and separate from it. Also, whilst dealing suffering and injustice to the stranger, they agitate and afflict the poor and needy. So, complete separation from the laws of life, right? Verse 8. Thou hast despised mine holy things, and hast profaned my Sabbaths. In thee are men that carry tales. So they giving counsel and reason to depart this lifestyle. And in thee they learn upon the mountains, the high places. In the midst of thee they commit lewdness. In thee have they discovered their father's nakedness. In thee have they humbled her that was set apart for pollution. So we've joined the whore. Verse 11. And one hath committed abomination with his neighbor's wife, and another hath lewdly defiled his daughter-in-law, and another in thee hath humbled his sister, his father's daughter. In thee have they taken gifts to depart lifestyle. Thou hast taken usury and increase, and thou hast greedily gained of thy neighbors by extortion, and hast forgotten me, said the Creator, Jehovah. Right. We have forgotten the face of our Father, his presence, the express image, Jehovah, in doing what? In treasuring the ways, the customs, manners, and prosperity of the heathen, who were put out before us in our presence. And the reason why was given. Let's get to it. Deuteronomy 9 and 4. Deuteronomy 9 and 4. Speak not thou in thy heart, in your mind, after that the Spirit of thy God hath cast them out from the presence of thee, saying, for my righteousness the Spirit of God hath brought me in to possess this land, this body. However, for the wickedness of these nations, the Spirit of God does drive them out from before thee. And just as they were put out for their unrighteousness, so were we. And we're still out to this day. Okay? So we've seen our filthiness written so lucidly you can smell it. Now, let's see what Jehovah, the Spirit of the Most High, treasures. In contrast to the things we've treasured. After gathering in the works of the flesh as perfection and beauty, let's look at what we abandon for the things pertaining to death. Zechariah 1 and 14. Zechariah 1 and 14. So the angel, the messenger that communed with me, said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith the Spirit of God of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. Right? But we're going to push because we need to see why. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 24. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 24. We're going to read 6 through 8 and then 10 through 12. In the waves of the sea and in all the earth and in every people and nation, I got a possession. With all these I sought rest, and in whose inheritance shall I abide? So the creator of all things gave me a commandment, and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, Let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel. In the holy tabernacle I served before him, and so was I established in Zion. Likewise in the beloved city he gave me rest, and in Jerusalem was my power. And I took root in an honorable people, even in the portion of the Creator's inheritance. Right? And remember Jerusalem and Judah, right? Now we see how ridiculous our actions are. But we gonna keep pushing though. Let's go. Deuteronomy 10, 15, and 20. Deuteronomy 10, 15, and 20. Only the Spirit of God had a delight in thy fathers to promise them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Thou shalt fear, desire the Spirit of your God. Him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, join, and swear by his way. Why? 2 Corinthians 4, 6 and 7. 2 Corinthians 4, 6 and 7. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of salvation of Jehovah. However, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. The key word was in, right? But we pushing and we still looking into his treasure, right? Malachi 3 and 17. Malachi 3 and 17. And they shall be mine, saith the Spirit of God of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serves him. Right? So we got that clear, right? We're going to keep pushing because we still want to know why. Psalms 135 and 4. Psalms 135 and 4. For the Spirit of God hath chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure. Right? So treasure, a promised or highly valued possession. Peculiar, particular, special, unique. So we see he treasures Israel. Point blank, period. Now, considering this, are you inspired or even influenced? I mean, pay attention. This is your creator after all. And that's real. Ain't no gimmicks with that. This ain't no moon landing either. We don't need CGI. All you need is the sword, the word, the KJV 1611, or the Sovereign Translators Edition, the mirror, right? So stop buying books. The truth ain't given everywhere, but prove that, right? As always. So let's take a commercial break and see what's commanded about everywhere, right? Let's pull. Mark 13, 21 and 22. Mark 13, 21 and 22. And then if any man, any male or female, shall say to you, Lo, remember, here is Christ, or lo, he is there. Believe him not, for false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and shall show signs and wonders to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect, right? How? there are plenty false prophets carrying plenty novels, right? Attempting to lure in the masses. They fishing. And it's working by far, right? See, we don't readily know the difference between the packaging of manna and a novel placed alongside it. But why is this? Crafty counsel, right? And we can find crafty under subtle. Deceitful, crafty, wise, right? Good at it. We can find craftiness under wiles, scheming, strategies, and methods, right? But let's keep pushing. Psalms 83, 3 and 4. Psalms 83, 3 and 4, A through C. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, right? But why? First Maccabees 3 and 48. First Maccabees 3 and 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, right? We're going to keep pushing. Psalms 83, 4D and 5. Psalms 83, 4D and 5. That the way of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. But we're going to spend a block on that though. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, that the way of Israel may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, right? And confederate. So they are joined by agreement against who? Israel. And you see it. You see it. This book of remembrance and these novels will never be the same. And keep in mind, alliances are made to achieve a common goal. Now the question is, did they achieve it or no? Right? Well, we gonna keep pushing. Let's go. Lamentations 2 and 16. Lamentations 2 and 16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it. Meaning, we have consumed her, right? She has become as one of us. Why you say that though? Why? Because the goal was to separate man, male and female alike, from Jehovah, right? And that went there. But let's get back, right? Psalms 135 and 4. Psalms 135 and 4. For the Spirit of God hath chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure, right? Now with focus, we see this is our aim, to feel this honor slated for one particular people. Again, this is honor, meaning we're dealing in privilege, right? But let's see it. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 6. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 6. Again, the word of the Spirit of God came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus saith the Creator Jehovah unto Jerusalem, Thy birth, your beginning, and thy nativity, your origin, is of the land, the body of Canaan, to be humbled. Thy father was an Amorite, a slayer, a vain talker, right? And thy mother an Hittite, a declarer, a pronouncer of affliction, vexation, right? And as for thy nativity, your origins, in the day thou was born, begotten, and willing to serve, thy navel, your flesh was not cut, separated. Neither was thou washed, so you wasn't cleansed nor sanctified in knowledge to supple thee. Thou was not salted, so you were not preserved or maintained at all, nor swaddled. You wasn't covered at all. None understanding pitied thee, to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee. However, thou was cast out in the open field, the uncovered vineyard, to the loathing of thy person in the day that thou was born, right? And when I pass by thee, we're going to pause right there, right? Because we got to get an understanding. So when the presence of the Most High passes before you, right, so does his goodness. So he's graciously showing the promises, your heritage, the laws pertaining to life, the things needed to preserve you, right? But we gonna see this. Let's keep pushing. Exodus 33 and 19. Exodus 33 and 19. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass in the presence of thee, and I will proclaim the way of the Spirit of God before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Right? Let's keep pulling. Ezekiel 16, 6 through 8. Ezekiel 16, 6 through 8. And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, your own lifestyle, I said unto thee when thou wast in thy lifestyle, live, practice. Yea, I said unto thee when thou wast in thy lifestyle, practice. I have caused, I have enlightened thee to multiply as the bud, the branches of the field, the vineyard. And thou hast increased and waxen great. So you've become great. And thou, in your perfection and beauty, are come to excellent ornaments, jewels. But that's in your perfection and beauty. Remember that. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou wast naked and bare. Now, when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, remember, thy time was the time of promise. So now when we got examined, it was the time of promise, right? And I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Creator Jehovah, and thou becamest mine. Yeah. Playtime over, boy. And I expect that to do for you what it does for me. Rooting out those misplaced emotions like fear, homesickness, loneliness to be built up in what? Strength, honor, stability, purpose, humility. And that is motivation. Get on your job, bruh. Get on and stay on. You hear me? Because ain't no days off. These is facts. The days that you had in the wilderness, you know, everything you did, what was winked at, those were your days off. Them was the off days. It's time to be on now. You hear me? Because the career opportunity itself came from everlasting. And I'm sure every man, everybody need that spiritual referral to be promoted, right? The job duties entail daily studies, work that must be put forth, and ongoing, a continual digging out and bringing forth of this priceless knowledge, right? Given of who? The Most High. And without who? Jehovah, these things are unattainable. This gift is given unto his creations who live according to his word. We know who that is, Jehovah. Case in point. Exodus 16 and 4. Exodus 16 and 4. Then said the Spirit of God unto Moses, remember, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will live in my law or no. My law, the way, the truth, and your life. Make no mistake, this is tasked to all with eyes to see and ears to hear, right? We got to relearn what real treasure is. And this is where we are. Open your eyes, right? We gonna keep cracking. Isaiah 33 and 5. Isaiah 33 and 5. The Spirit of God is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment, doctrine, and teachings, including righteousness, right? We see the filling, the law, the way of the Most High, Jehovah of hosts, the guide of spirits. So let's see what he's feeling, right? Genesis 43 and 23. Genesis 43 and 23, A through F. And he said, Peace be to you. Fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. Did you catch the dice? So a sack, a vessel, a body, a basket, a bag, a bag, right? Luke 12 and 33. Luke 12 and 33. Sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth, right? So sell, release the knowledge that you have, and give good works, readily palatable. Put forth the works of the Spirit, right? You see it, you see it. In doing so, you provide yourselves with bags, sacks, vessels, which become not old. You see something? Say something, right? Second Esdras 2, 10 and 11. Second Esdras 2, 10 and 11. Thus saith the Creator unto Esdras, Tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel. Their glory also will I take unto me, and give these the everlasting tabernacles which I had prepared for them. You can't unsee that, right? I ain't putting nothing on it because sometimes, you just got to leave well enough alone. Sometimes it just be mic drops. And we're gonna keep pushing. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 29 and 11. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 29 and 11. Lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. But what are we laying up, right? Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 14. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 14. For she is a treasure unto men that never faileth, which they that use become the friends of God, being commended for the gifts that come from learning. And for this cause, we listen attentively, right? Proverbs 4, 1, 7, and 6. Proverbs 4, 1, 7, and 6. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. For this reason, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Promise her, and she shall keep thee. Right? And now, let's understand wisdom. Proverbs 8, 7, 10, and 11. Proverbs 8, 7, 10, and 11. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it, right? Now let's keep pushing. Proverbs 8, 20 and 21. Proverbs 8, 20 and 21. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment, doctrine, and teachings, that I may cause those that promise me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures, right? So we've seen the ingredient list, and to a lot of us now, it tastes upright, uplifting, right? Meaning it's up top. And because of that, Psalms 119, 11, and 54. Psalms 119, 11, and 54. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. Thy statutes have been my songs, my confessions, in the house of my pilgrimage. So on my journey, I've accepted my role and taken in understanding. Why? Isaiah 33 and 6. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The desire of the Spirit of God is his treasure. So the desires of Jehovah is the wealth and riches of this people separated unto the Most High. Right? Let's keep going. Luke 12 and 34. Luke 12 and 34. For where your treasure is, those things you value, there will your heart, your soul, your tabernacle, your home be also, right? And this is what I came to, right? That emotion is to be in Jehovah and none else, right? The heart points towards home. Family members, friendships, these are all fleeting fancies. It's temporary. The wheat and the tares are together, destined themselves for separation. The word, his law, the truth, was gifted for us to join to. We're supposed to be cleaving to it, right? And though we are wrapped in flesh, we were made to do what? Separate from it. Yeah. So those who will come will come. We just, do the math on that. Just do the math. Right? And our last verse, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 29 and 15. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 29 and 15. Forget not the friendship of thy surety, for he hath given his life for thee. And that surety, that bond, that pledge, that vow, right? Sounding familiar yet? Right? And if everything is our forefathers' faults, remember, they're the reason you've been given this opportunity, right? They were there to accept the proposal. So as far as we go, they did their part. Now, all that's left for us is to understand our role and to do our part. Don't play it, right? The only way to stay protected against mayhem is to keep up the insurance payments, right? Okay, then. We need these on direct deposit, right? Straight out of what you value most. And it ain't your checkbook, is it? Nah, it's you. And with that, once again, y'all, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve you. Shalom, y'all.